The European Super League is borderline lunacy. It is absolute, utter greed and contempt from these big clubs, because what it does is it completely changes the dynamic of football in terms of what it's meant to be. It's supposed to be competition amongst clubs. The whole football pyramid, even if you can take all the other international leagues and European leagues, but let's just look at the English league. The whole premise of it is you perform to a certain level, you will get opportunities to improve. By creating some strange European Super League that 5 Premier League clubs have agreed to, 2 of which aren't even in the top 6 currently, baffles me, baffles the absolute life out of me. And it means that these big clubs, or these so-called big clubs, can create a monopoly. It is commercially driven. There's no level of competition regarding it. Again, you look at the Europa League. You can talk about the Europa Conference League. You can talk about the Champions League. There's a mix of clubs in there. You have your bigger clubs, your bigger hierarchy, and then you have clubs in there that have competed well in their own individual leagues and are given the opportunity. That is the whole premise of competition. European Super League drags the life out of it and basically says, listen, lads, don't worry. We'll do some fancy matches, and we'll get some generic fans in, and we'll pack out stadiums. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. UEFA have taken a tremendously strong stance against it, from what I can tell, condemning all the clubs. The Premier League have turned around and said that if these clubs still insist on this whole charade, again, I call it a charade, it's more like an actual plan, then again, they'll be banned or expelled from the Premier League. UEFA have said that they'll be banned from all competitions as well. So these big clubs need to seriously start to think about the dynamic of what they're joining. And again, I don't really want to blame individual fan bases, because I think the general consensus amongst fans is that this decision is wrong. But you look at some of these owners, the Glazers, John Henry as well for Liverpool, Daniel Levy or Joe Lewis. These are commercially driven enterprises and owners, and it just fundamentally goes against everything regarding football. The more interesting point of all of this is the fact that PSG and Bayern Munich, take PSG out of it, Bayern's probably a great example, a European giant, historical, they're a massive club, have turned around and said that they don't agree with it fundamentally. And this is the issue for me with the Premier League and the German league. Take standards out of it and take certain clubs out of it and players. The reality is the German league has got a level of morality. It's got standards that it wants to set. It puts the fans first. The Premier League, or at least occupants of the Premier League currently as it stands, are pushing towards this commercialized, baseless version. I'm disgusted from it from a football perspective. From a West Ham perspective, I mean, it just throws the league into complete and utter disarray. West Ham could end up in the Champions League. Any club we're talking about here that aren't part of those clubs that are leaving could be in the Champions League. But I hope that the rest of the league stand against it. I hope that the other European leagues and those clubs stand against it, because take money out of it, take everything regarding politics out of it, it just goes against the nature of football and a competitive football and what it's meant to be. That's the last thing I will say on it. So thank you for joining me. Like the video, subscribe to the West Ham Way if you're new. Take care, everybody. Let's hope this doesn't happen.